welcome in to a very special live edition of Lobbing Scorchers. We are out here at Starfire Sports, where in just a couple hours' time, Tacoma Defiance will be taking on the Portland Timbers first team. That's still kind of crazy to say that this is actually happening. Very excited to be out here for another live show and experiencing the magic of the Open Cup. We're set up better this time. We're facing an audience.
There's a lot of people here.
There's a lot of people here, and we have got an all-star cast of characters here to talk about Tacoma Defiance U.S. Open Cup, playing the Portland Timbers first team. We got Jeremiah O'Shan, Sounder at Heart Overlord here, and a very, very special guest this evening. We got Wade Weber, Sounders Director of Development, joining the show. Our last live show, we had Henry Bronner. That was great. We had a great interview with him. Wade, I guess we'll start with you as our special guest. Thank you so much for the time, first of all. This has got to be an exciting night for you. I mean, you put about as much work into this project with Tacoma Defiance and youth development in Seattle as anybody, and now you get to watch them take on the Portland Timbers first team. Just how are you feeling about this game and just sort of how this opportunity came about for Tacoma?
Well, it's years in the making. This didn't start in 2025. We've had a pretty intentional approach to filling our second team with academy prospects and then second chance players. Some of those second chance players happen to be academy prospects as well, kids that went to college and have come back. And it's been very intentional. There's been promotion within our club upward, and to play the Timbers in a round of 32 Open Cup match, a competitive match. I don't want to say it's more than I ever dreamt would happen, but I did say when I knew this was a possibility a couple rounds ago, I did say I might retire if we win tonight. Like my work is done. I'm not going to. I'm just putting that on record. But yeah, there's so much at stake for our guys because it's not advancing in the Open Cup. It's another meaningful game against very difficult opposition, and that's all we want our youngsters to face. And there's only one team in the club that has to win, and that's the first team. But tonight, there's a little bit of me that really says Defiance has got to win too.
I'll get one more in here, and then Jeremiah and Noah, if you got questions for Wade, feel free to jump in. But I guess, could you tell our audience about your role as Director of Development for the Sounders? You obviously coached this team for a couple years and then moved into this new role. What is your day-to-day like, and what's different about what you're doing now compared to coaching?
Well, I don't get as many steps in per day, and my app is telling me that I'm not as healthy as I used to be. It is an office job where I sometimes get to go out on the field and help players. I'm sort of the on-staff center back has a problem. Who do we go to? I'm still kind of that guy. So even first team players, I still have some influence there. But really, it is managing staff more than managing players, working on staff, on personal development plans for head coaches of all of our teams. I think Sounders fans understand this, but we see Defiance as the finishing piece of our academy rather than just the bottom of a first team. We see it as a place where young players are given opportunities to be successful. We try and set them up to succeed. But my job is to oversee that operation, the management of the second team, the academy, but mostly on a staff level rather than a player level. That's the primary difference between when I was the Defiance head coach to my current role.
Yeah, wait, this whole program, I guess, kind of started in 2015.
Yeah.
When S2 launched. Well, how would you describe the difference between what the Defiance are now versus what they were in 2015?
That's a good question. There are three distinct periods in the history of Sounders development. The Sounders were only ever a team from 1974 all the way up until 2010. In 2010, we got our first academy team, and for 5 seasons, there was only an academy. There was no bridge, and every player went off to college. I take that back. Victor Mansoret we may have signed directly to the first team, but bypassing the second team because it didn't exist. So in 2015, we needed to fill that second team roster with players. So I don't know if you know this, but the 2015 draft, which was Christian Roldan's year, right? And that is the highest draft pick we have had in the last 10 years. He was number 16, and that remains because the first team is very competitive, and we tend to trade draft picks as well. We haven't had anyone higher than that, and we signed 5 players from that draft directly to the second team. I didn't come prepped to be able to tell you those 5.
Tyler Miller.
Yeah, he was one. We had
O'Neal Fisher.
Charlie Lyons.
O'Neal Fisher.
O'Neal Fisher.
And Christian Roldan. I don't know who the other one was.
So we filled it through the draft directly into the second team with a whole bunch of draft picks. We had open tryouts. We had combines. We basically, Ezra Hendrickson, who was the coach at the time,
legend,
had contacts in the Caribbean and would bring in Olex Anderson, a number of other guys who sort of came in, and Nuhu is another one. Nuhu signed pretty much to play for the second team that first year, and then got the bump the following year. I think was his first year 2016.
I think 2016, and then signed in 2017.
Yeah. So the transformation is that now we're very intentional with second team signings, and we want there to be a couple of academy kids that are prospects to make it all the way through. I think maybe we, at the end of in 2018 and 19, we signed pretty much every eligible 2002, 2001 player. There were just a whole slew of them. Not many of them stuck. If you look at those 2 age bands in particular, Josh Atencio stuck. Ethan Doubler's not with us anymore. I mean, he's still alive. He's actually doing very well for himself. But yeah, we signed Alfonso was an 02.
Yeah.
There were a couple 03s in that mix as well. Sota Kitahara, Danny Leyva, they were on that.
Marlon Vargas.
2019. He's an 01.
Okay.
The 2019 GA Cup champion had just a raft of players who are playing pro soccer. Ray Serrano's in Louisville. Alex Villanueva plays for Detroit. You can go through the list of those guys. But yeah, we now use it as a way to intentionally identify 2 or 3 academy kids, some second chance guys. We're now also in Georgie Monongu. We're actually spending transfer fees on second team players, which was a radical idea, but it's paid off. He's a contributing member of our first team, and also getting some opportunities with Defiance as well. So, yeah, we also have these player movement meetings every week. I brought this up. I gave a presentation at the Generation Adidas Cup a week and a half ago about our process. And we have this meeting, and I won't say the clubs, but I got phone calls from a couple different MLS clubs, academy directors saying, how did you do that? How do you get the first team to listen to you? And we don't get the first team to do anything. Schmetz and company are going to do what they want to do, but it's really a question of 5, 6, 7 years of we've produced a generally useful product for Schmetz, and therefore there's more trust that's built in because the process has been successful, and long may it continue.
So I'm going to guess that we are very close to the lineup coming out. If it hasn't come out yet, are you willing to share who's been loaned down from the first team?
Can I do that before the lineup is?
I mean, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
You run the show over here. Come on.
Well, I'll say this.
We have to beat Foot Mob.
I'll say this. There are, it's not just anyone. There are certain parameters around which we have to operate when it comes to loaning down for Open Cup competition, which is different than normal. I mean, in a normal MLS Next Pro world, Steph Fry could get loaned down. He'd just have to sign the paperwork that says he's okay with it. Now you actually you can't be on the senior roster. You have to be on what's called the supplemental roster. And there are some names on there that are interesting. I think Paul Rothrock is eligible to be loaned down. Now, he's playing for the first team at such a level that he doesn't really need the minutes. He's getting the minutes with the first team. But we're not giving this opportunity to players just to get the minutes. This is a different sort of opportunity. We want to make sure that the players that are on this field are gonna soak in this experience. And when the 24 hours of May 6th, 2025 are over, they're 24 hours better, not just 24 hours older, if that makes sense. So it's the usual customers: Stuart Hawkins, Travian Sousa. I know Andrew Thomas is eligible, so is Jacob Castro. Reed Baker Whiting is eligible. Georgie also. So these guys we could see. It would be great to see them. Kalani Kosarienzi, who we came into this season with actually thinking, well, he's probably going to be with Defiance for some of the season. We know the first team like him, but it just hasn't worked out yet. I don't think he's played a minute for the second team. And Cody Baker would be eligible, but is suspended because of the red card in the last round.
What a great red card.
Well, if you're going to get one, maybe you want to go full Dempsey on it. But then you don't want to incur the wrath of a decade of a suspension and all of that.
Yeah.
I really
He's
think
still not eligible, right?
I don't. I was talking with someone earlier today that it might be a lifetime ban for all I know.
Yeah.
It would be. Yeah.
He is not to be that guy. He is eligible now. I think it was a 6-year ban.
The bit of him not being eligible.
Bring
is
him
better.
back.
Yeah.
He's basically just doing what we do now. He's being a podcaster.
Exactly.
Like we always say, he could sign a Next Pro contract for a couple
How
days.
great would it be if
if
a helicopter descended onto midfield just
God.
before coin toss and out steps Deuce with a oversized referee booklet and just rips it up in front of everyone. Legendary.
That would break the internet. That would.
Or it comes out and he unzips a Defiance jersey.
Oh, and we've signed him
Now
for
you're
one game.
Now it's a full circle.
Sasha
Now
Question,
you're talking.
all those guys that signed
Yeah.
up, and Ozzy Alonso played
Except
for that
he'd
team.
be good.
We wouldn't ask much of him defensively.
Exactly.
I don't think.
Yeah.
You got to know the audience.
Wade, I got a player specific question for you. In the last few years here, we've finally seen a lot of these academy kids break through for the first team, really get minutes, and meaningfully contribute, make impacts. And I got to get your take, though, specifically on the rise of Obed Vargas. We
$100 million.
Noah and I, we debate the transfer fee every week. The price goes up with each passing week. But it really, you've seen his whole rise from when he first got here from Anchorage, Alaska, to now very much appears to be on a superstar trajectory. So my question is, when you have a player like that, do you know early, like the type of ceiling that might be there? Like, is there a moment when you're watching them early on where you think, all right, we might have something special here? Or is that a more gradual thing where you watch them play more and more and then you go, wow, like this, we might be onto something with this?
Yeah, it usually is obvious, but it's usually obvious because of some physical characteristic that makes them stand out. A 6'6" goalkeeper that happens to be a reasonable athlete. Alphonso Davies' speed and left foot, right? So those things are like, you definitely have, the path is shorter for people with exceptional physical traits. I don't know that Obed has an exceptional physical trait. But from minute one, his super skill was his mentality. And that might sound, I don't know, how do you quantify that? He was a professional at 15 before he signed as a professional. He behaved like one, trained like one. He didn't ask for favors, didn't make excuses, studied the game. And I remember having those conversations because he signed to Defiance in 2021 when we were still in the USL. And we had a team around him. Jackson Reagan came in that year. But it was a team around him that was still pretty young. And we were used to getting our lunch handed to us by USL, the 35-year-old with 3 kids and a mortgage. And Obed slotted in. And I think that if we did him a service, it was to not treat him like a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
He did turn 16 that year on August 5th. I know his birthday because it's my anniversary. So, every anniversary, I say good morning to my wife and I text Obed. I say, happy birthday. But yeah, he had the mentality of a 30-year-old as a 15-year-old, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter what setting you put him in. He showed up early. He worked hard. He likes the gym, and so a lot of those things that you see players that like the idea of being a pro, but the reality of being a pro, especially as you're climbing up the steps, is it's a lot like, and Jeremiah's heard me say this, it's a lot like being a plumber. A very specific set of skills that not many people have. And sometimes you got to do things you don't want to do. No one wants to clean a clogged toilet, right? But if you're a professional plumber, you show up, you do the job, you do it well, and you get repeat business. And pretty soon you're sending the minions out to do the toilets, and then you'll just focus on the fancier things. Obed's not one to send a minion, though. He will do the job himself.
He's unclogging the toilets.
He's unclogging the toilets
and the
every day at
midfields.
work. And, yeah. And he's starting to pick apart back lines, with passes and runs.
Gustav Svensson would be so proud.
He would. Again, it's not that we knew that he would continue to rise as rap, because don't forget he had a broken back in 2022, and
Ouch.
we were very concerned, that might sort of derail completely his ability to continue progressing. But he's strong. He's confident. He started the game the other night, I thought, shaky. I don't know if you watched it closely, but I can't help but watch games as his old coach, and missed some passes, missed a tackle, got booked, I think. And this is all adding up. Oh my God, it's not going to be. And then by the end of the second half, I'm like, it was a great game. And I think he was voted man of the match.
Could add 2 goals.
Could have. I think we do have a special one. And I know there are clubs that are interested. We hear this all the time internally. I'm not at the position to say which clubs are reaching out, because I don't know. But what's interesting? You know what's interesting? Back in the day, I asked him. I asked all players, so what team do you follow if it's not the Sounders? And he said Atletico Madrid. And I'm thinking, can you imagine Obed Vargas in a Simeone midfield? He's like tailor-made for them.
Yeah.
Right. And who are we playing this summer? We're playing Atletico Madrid. So I just want to get it out there. If Diego's, if you're watching or listening,
we have a lot of people. You never
Obed
know.
might be available.
Obed Vargas, call us first though, because we're getting our percentage
for the right price.
100 million.
Yeah. We want to win things with Obed too. That's what makes us maybe different than. There's some other academies that produced a ton of talent. You look at Dallas and Philadelphia and Red Bulls, and those 3 clubs combined have never won MLS Cup, right? They have a couple supporter shields. They got an Open Cup in there too. They've missed the playoffs. I did the math once, collectively 17 or 18 times, maybe more than that. I'm not saying that isn't going to happen in the future. I'm just saying that we want to win here. And if selling players is a knock-on effect, a benefit of winning, then great. But we also want to win.
Yeah, I'm interested to know, because for Obed, for me, I'm going to be so sad to not see him play here. But at the same time, it's I know from what I can see, his level is incredible. And being around players with even higher level, he can just ascend. I mean, with his ability potentially to lead the Mexican national team now into this new birth. I mean, what a career he's so young too.
He's
right?
19.
He's literally 19
years old.
We're talking about a 19-year-old kid who has already won Champions League, who has, all of this stuff. I mean, you have to probably feel kind of like a proud dad sometimes.
My wife says that to me, and it's more like a proud uncle.
Proud uncle.
Than a proud dad.
The uncles are cooler anyway.
Well, it depends on which side of the family you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have to say there's a ton of Defiance gear in here.
It makes you think that this was maybe a viable brand. I don't know.
I still think it is, Jeremiah. I still think Defiance, or if you could, because we're not playing in Tacoma, that's not a secret.
Wait, what?
That the pandemic was bad for lots of reasons, but on a very personal level, we were this close to breaking ground and building a facility and a little stadium that would have been wonderful. But as it is, we'll settle for what we have, which is still pretty good.
How do you find a kid from Anchorage, Alaska? I think, and I asked that because the Obed story, but I think it's such a great example of the how you can find, I guess, diamonds in the rough, so to speak. Could you give us a window into how you even find a kid like this, and then how they go from there to where he is now?
It is a network of scouts. We have our own scouting network. There are people that we employ in-house, and then they have people that they connect with out of house. And it's some of those people that gave us a heads up that there's this kid from Cook Inlet FC, I think that's what they're called, and they and he was on the ODP team, the state team for Alaska, playing at a Region 4 event down in Arizona, I think, and we got the heads up, but it wasn't long before every MLS team got the heads up. Alaska is truly anyone's territory, so it was just a case of us showing off. At the time, it was convenient because we had just won GA Cup. There was this momentum that we had on the academy side of winning things, and I think there was an attraction for the family for that. And we brought him into the academy. He liked it. I know the Timbers wanted him.
Sorry, guys.
I know several other clubs were in for him, but they made the decision to come to us. And then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
The pandemic happened, and so he actually didn't get to play hardly at all for our academy. That academy shut down for half a year, and he got a few games in, and then we brought him into preseason for Defiance in 21, signed him to there, and the rest, as they say, is history that's still being written.
We're here with Sounders Director of Development, Wade Weber. Noah, Jeremiah, I've asked the last couple. You got anything else for Wade?
You look at this team. We have talked a lot about Obed Vargas. We talked a lot about other. Who are some players on this team that you're expecting to see today that you think are players that we should be paying attention to as Sounders fans, and especially for what we should look for tonight?
First team players or second team players?
I'm saying players who you think will both have an impact here and potentially on the first team as well.
I'll start with Snyder Brunel. Snyder, a midfielder, born in 2007, 2 years younger than Obed. And that's just for context.
That makes me feel old, and I'm 25. So that's where we're at now.
2007. Snyder has captained Defiance a number of times this year and last year, and we choose the captain not just because we want the best leader to lead the team. Sometimes we give captain responsibilities to players who we want to be more leaders, to kind of bring the leadership out of them. Snyder's been great. He's kind of risen to that challenge and is now going to walk the team out tonight in a manner that in the biggest game Defiance have ever played, the biggest competitive match, and is a versatile midfielder. Have you heard that before?
You guys seem to grow those on
trees. I know.
Trees.
I wish it was that simple, but Josh Atencio, now in Colorado, his exit has given a little more freedom for Danny Leyva. Now, the team, when they're healthy, it's hard for any young guy to get a lot of minutes, but Danny's got more minutes this year than he had last year at this point. And that's a result of Josh going, of Sota Kitahara going. So that's freed up room in midfield for a player maybe like Snyder. Not saying we're going to sign him soon, but he's close. Do you have breaking news?
We got some breaking news. We have a starting lineup.
Oh,
Okay,
boy.
let's go.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Roll, please.
All right, so we got Andrew Thomas in goal.
Andy
Let's
T.
go.
We got Stuart Hawkins and Kaito Yamada, right? Kaito Yamada in the center back.
Let's go, Stu Hawks.
Reed Baker Whiting at left back. Kalani Kosarienzi. I did not expect that one.
Oh, that's a
right
curveball.
back.
That's
Yeah.
a curveball. I love that.
Yeah.
Snyder Brunel and Tino Lopez in the midfield.
Okay.
I did not realize he had that in his game.
Tino is a versatile. He's slightly undersized at center back, but as a player that can step into midfield or play right back, pop any of those three positions. Yeah.
And then Pete Kingston playing as the
Legend.
as a
Yes,
10.
we love Pete.
We're big Pete
We're
Kingston
Pete guys.
There's
believers.
there's a lot to like about Pete, I've known Pete. The first academy experience I had with Peter Kingston was in 2016. We went to Sheffield, England, to play in a tournament, the UDAN Trophy. We won it. We beat FC Basel in the final. They were shocked that Americans actually knew how to play soccer. And Pete was the leader of that group. The 2001s and a couple 2002s. Continue.
Yeah, so you got Sebastian Gomez, a teen, homegrown right now with the Defiance. Georgie Manungu at right mid.
Who's been tearing up Next Pro, by the way.
Yeah, and Osaze de Rosario. And then a pretty strong bench, I got to say. Travion Sousa and Edson Carley, Danny Robles, Yu Sukaname coming off the bench.
Oh, didn't he score? He scored.
He's the second leading scorer in MLS Next Pro right now.
Yeah.
And then Corey and Hellerin and Kitsaros are the rest of the bench.
There you go. Yeah, I mean,
Sounds like a win to me.
It's a defensive group. I mean, it's a pretty.
It is a strong team.
It is a
It's a strong team. But I will also let everyone know that for everyone, if you're leaning toward the view of that, they're stacking the lineup to win this game. Our center backs are both born in 2006. Sebastian Gomez, 2006. Snyder Brunel, 2007. So this is not a veteran. We haven't brought in the 23-year-olds to try and give ourselves an advantage in this game. That's what we could put out on a weekly basis for the second team. And don't forget the first team play in Houston this Saturday, and then they go to LAFC midweek, and then they go to Portland the following weekend. So our first team had 3 games in 7 or 8 days, the middle of which is at LAFC, and it just so happens that we're about 1 week away from that game. So exposure in this game might help prepare first team players to play at LAFC a week from now. So these are all things that we discuss every week about how to plot and plan who's in this lineup
and I don't know, if you wanted to stack the lineup, you could have called in Kim Keehee, you could have called in John Bell, you could have called in Paul Rothrock. So it's not like this is a all hands on deck situation. Correct. This is, like you said,
this is Tacoma Defiance.
This is a real Tacoma Defiance roster.
And a 2005 in Reed Baker Whiting, another one who's just turned 20 in March.
And coming back from injury and getting fit again and getting more minutes. That's...
So, I'm excited about that lineup.
It's the kids.
Osaze he's leading MLS Next Pro in goals. He's got a couple in the Open Cup, at least
just
one.
One in Open Cup. He only spent one game.
Yeah, and so having you, Sukaname, come off the bench, he's been great. He's a little on the older side. Georgie has been tearing it up. And on the cozy confines of Starfire, it's a beautiful day.
Oh my god,
perfect.
I'm telling you, cup set might be in the making, right?
We like the sound of that.
I like that.
What was your just first reaction when that whistle against Oakland Roots went final and you realized we're playing the Portland Timbers first team in the Open Cup?
Well, I knew that would be a possibility, but I had to wait, I think, 48 hours until they actually there's a draw done offline, 7 a.m. something, and that made it official. And I remember the text thread I was on with Henry Bronner and Corey Sincer, Sean Henderson, Craig Weibel, and we all sort of collectively shared memes, just trying to one up each other in giddiness. The classic of the Seinfeld characters, all like doing the fast footsteps. That was like the first one in. There was a Chris Farley as well. Chris Farley is the Chippendales guy.
I need to see a photo of this.
Yeah, you got to screenshot these.
This is Sounders history right here. This is lore that we need to. That's like our territory right here. I know. All we do is jokes.
Yeah. I don't think I contributed a meme. It's not really my speed. But
if you need us to ghostwrite anything,
I think I threw some Lord of the Rings in there as well. So,
there we go.
Yeah, that's more my alley.
So I want to do a little thought exercise for you.
Okay.
Put yourself in Phil Neville's shoes.
Ooh.
As hard as that might be. What is your approach to this game, and how do you avoid because this does feel like a no-win situation if you're the Timbers. If you lose, you've lost to a third division team. By the way, that's the child of your biggest
fiercest
rival,
Yeah.
your biggest rival. And if you win, no one cares.
Yeah.
No one
You're
cares.
supposed to
You
win.
just did exactly what you're supposed to do.
But you have to respond in a British accent, like here.
Right,
Phil
exactly.
Neville.
So give us your best Phil Neville. What's your approach? And I mean, do you do anything lineup-wise that you might not do if this was, I don't know, San Jose Earthquakes 2?
Yeah, I'm not going to do the accent.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I guarantee you, they've come here to win. They have come here to win, and every player in that Timbers locker room understands exactly what you just said. That they're in a no-win situation unless they absolutely blow the doors off Defiance and win by 4 or 5 goals. So I think the first thing I do is I would ask my owner, how much do you value public relations? Because this could be a PR kind of not nightmare, but it is a scenario that the Timbers probably don't want to get themselves into.
Right.
I would still prioritize the league for a round of 32 match, and I would light into my players and say, listen, this is you are playing for jobs here.
Yeah.
The Timbers are doing all right in the league.
Yeah.
They're in a good spot in the league. But I still wouldn't take risks and play the players I absolutely need on Saturday to play Tacoma Defiance on a Tuesday. It is Tuesday, right?
It is Tuesday.
Yeah,
It's a
to play Defiance on a Tuesday on the road. I wouldn't do it. Just because I know what the priority has to be for the first team. Yes, winning a cup is great, but you don't win it in the round of 32. If Tacoma advances, they're going to play the winner of San Jose Earthquake, Sacramento Republic, right? And so that's still another step. And then there's another round. And then finally we're talking about getting into a final. So I think he has to just tell his players, it's up to you to win this game. And yes, it's not the Timbers' first choice 11. I haven't seen their lineup yet, but I doubt that it is. But every one of those players is going to be extra motivated because there is going to be a nice little crowd here. Yeah. And it's not going to be a warm reception. And
It's packed in this pizza place right now.
There's a magic about the Open Cup and this venue. It just is. It's not fake.
The Timbers know a little something about the magic of the Open Cup.
4 red cards, or actually was
3
it
red
3
cards,
red
yes,
cards and an
injury.
injury.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna ask you, what's the over under for red cards today? Is it one? I gotta set it at like 1.5.
I hope it is 1/2.
It is one. It's under.
I do not want. That's my fear, is that something happens early in the game that just sort of dictates the narrative the rest of the game. Somebody's sent off.
Sure. Listen, I saw the refs earlier today. They were drinking a cup of coffee. They seemed like good guys. I'm not worried about it. We'll be. Everything's going to be great.
The whole standard of physical preparation for referees in 2025, you wouldn't even believe. I mean, people say how much faster the game is, but how much faster the referees are to keep up with the game.
We defend referees on this show all the time. We're very pro referee on this podcast. I mean, we did it last week, and then
the last couple weeks. The last couple weeks have been tough for me.
What was your take on the non-call?
Oh boy, you're over
yeah, here we go. Let's dive into it. Let's go.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I just couldn't believe that he reviewed it for an hour and a half and then still missed the call. Like, how do you look at it for that long and you still miss it?
I heard that the ball deflected off a leg before it hit the arm.
Yeah.
Did that happen?
No, it did
Okay.
not.
Well,
Got it.
it may have. I think if you want to be the most sympathetic you can possibly be, it looks like it may have grazed his leg. It does not change the trajectory of the ball, and his arm is
So
out
far
before
out.
before he kicks it.
He's hailing a cab.
Listen, this
Exactly.
is not
Yeah.
a natural position.
Right.
Like this is putting your arm around someone at a bar and they're like, "Yeah, I'm good." You know what I mean? So that's
I was actually arguably more annoyed by Jackson Travis not getting sent off in Colorado. So,
Yeah.
I mean that's where my mind's at.
Yeah.
But I guess Wade, on the flip side of what you were just talking about with how how you would approach this game as Phil Neville, What do you think the message is to the Defiance guys in this situation where no one expects you to win this game? Heavy
Except for
underdog.
every Sounders fan.
I mean,
Well,
no neutral. No neutral has any expectation that you win this game. But you know, you do have the home field advantage. Starfire can be the great equalizer in situations like this. But to me, it feels like a situation where you would just, you know, try to impart on them. Go out there, have fun, enjoy the moment. Don't let the weight of it, the weight of opportunity get into your head. Just, you know, go do what you do. How would you approach the messaging to the players in a situation where you're this much of an underdog?
Yeah, I think the first thing would be that there's the old saying, play the game, not the occasion. You know, that this occasion is going to bring with it some feelings, some nerves. But butterflies are good. They're healthy. It means you're concerned about the result and you're concerned about performing well. The second would be to keep the message as close to a regular game message as you can, because you won't need to add anything. Defiance games are not usually attended as well as this game is attended. So there's going to be that added pressure they'll put on themselves regardless. So they need some familiar touch points. They need to know that it is still just a game, and they've played hundreds of them in their lives. Some of them in their pro lives, perhaps. No, probably not hundreds. But yeah, it is. Don't make it more than it is. It is a game. But one thing I know about Mike Morris, the assistant coach, who I've worked with very closely since I joined the academy in early 2016, he has a special spot in his body for the Timbers. I was going to say in his heart, but it's not in his heart. He will make it clear that, you know, this is not a normal game. If we were playing the Timbers in front of nobody in a parking lot, calling fouls ourselves, we should treat it exactly the same as we do when we play at Lumen. It's ferocious. It's relentless. Never quit. Don't stop. Get in their face, but don't get sent off.
yeah.
There's an old win the ball without fouling, foul without getting booked. That is the sort of my mantra to center backs. You have to be able to win a ball sometimes, and you have to be able to foul sometimes, and it can't always lead to a silly yellow card early in a game that you're then having to manage. Sorry, I went off on a tangent there. My message is
podcast. We love that.
Try not to make more of it than it is. It's a game. You're a good player. You're a good player. You belong in this setting. You've earned the right to play them, and as a result, go take advantage of it. It's just a challenge, right? It's just a challenge. It's not personal, and winning is better than losing. So go win.
You know, you are someone who has a lot of connections to this team. You are someone that has a lot of connections to this soccer community. I don't know that a lot of people know this, but before you joined the Sounders, you were a high school teacher, a high school history teacher. And I'm just curious, what's the closest a player ever came from that you taught to actually playing for you at? Like, have you had any like interesting crossing paths there of your teaching life and your
not really. I didn't. I was coaching before the Sounders. I coached for an area youth club, and then before that, I taught.
Okay.
So there's a gap.
There's a gap.
There.
Okay.
Yeah, it's. I was teaching when FIFA 2000 came out. I don't know if you know that FIFA 2000. Like that might be the original.
Yes, I think I remember that.
I'm in that as a player. Yeah, Miami Fusion. And I didn't know I was in the game. They didn't give us money or anything to use our name, and it wasn't our likeness. I was just a generic Insta player. But I had a student come up to me and say, "Mr. Weber, do you know you're in a video game?" And I said, "No, I did not know that." Yeah, it's called FIFA 2000, and guess what? You're really slow.
I was going to ask, do you remember what they had you rated as?
No, I don't. But apparently, I was slow. So, but I was a good header of the ball is another thing that he told me, which is actually accurate. I was not the fastest, and I was above average heading the ball.
What? Oh, that is FIFA 2000.
FIFA 2000. That's 25 years old, right?
We got Sounders Director of Development Wade Weber here joining us at our live show at Watershed Pizza at Starfire. Wade, I mean, I don't think I have anything else to cover with you. Jeremiah, did you have
No, I
anything
mean, we could go on all day, but
we could talk to you
it
all
is,
night.
you know,
but we've kept you long
got a half
enough.
hour before the game. I don't know how close we want to cut it for you.
But
I'm good with whatever you guys want. Just get me to the church on time. Is all I'm saying.
I keep waiting for the Timbers to drop their lineup, and I can't find it anywhere.
that's how you know that they're scared right now.
Right, exactly.
That's how you know it's in their head.
I'm like
maybe
on
they're
Twitter.
trying to resubmit. Maybe they're trying to change things up.
Exactly. Yeah. So another question I do have about the Tacoma Defiance is, you see a crowd like this, and it's a good reminder. Every time there's an Open Cup game out here, it's a good reminder that Sounders fans, that soccer fans in this community are quite aware of this facility and coming out here. What do you think we need to do to get fans out on a regular basis to watch Defiance games? Because you're well aware as anyone that it's mostly friends and family that are out here on a week-to-week basis.
I think a lot of it has to do with branding and finding the niche. Ballard FC have done such a wonderful job of galvanizing the little the quirky area that is Ballard that we all love in our fair city. It's just a question of where is that place? I think it could be Tacoma, but we need a facility. There's got to be a stadium that can accommodate it. Starfire size would be great. We talked about Spokane. We talked about other places on the other side of the mountains where that community's starving for professional soccer, and we could provide that. I know LAFC had a partnership with Las Vegas Lights.
Yeah.
And they would train. That's just when Steve Cherundolo was their coach, the second team. They'd train in LA and they'd bus to Vegas.
They
bus to Vegas for games. And when it was proposed that we might play in Spokane, this is 5 years ago. This is before the Spokane Velocity, before the stadium was built there. And I got thinking about that. Like, I don't know about that. I'd almost rather live in Spokane and be part of the community, because it really feels like you're just a rent-a player otherwise. I think a big part of the experience of supporting a minor league, whether it's the Tacoma Rainiers, Everett Aqua Sox, the T-Birds, the hockey team. So there are crowds that exist to support those franchises, and the crowds are small, but they're well branded. And people wear the gear, and it's in the community, or they represent that place. So what is that for Defiance? I don't know. But I do know it's an exciting team. It's the top scorers in MLS NEXT Pro. It's fun soccer. It is the sort of thing that if you got a chance to come out to Starfire and watch them play, you wouldn't be disappointed by the level.
Right.
It's a good level.
And they're a fun team.
They're fun. They score a lot of goals. It's not like when I was coaching them, Jeremiah, where it was, give me one goal and we're going to park the bus.
Okay, we do have a lineup for the Timbers, and it's an MLS lineup. Maxime Crépeau, World Cup veteran Maxime Crépeau in goal. Eric Miller, I believe, at left back. Zach McGraw, center back. The Dario Zubrich, there you go. And then a lot of players who I recognize their faces. Kelsey is starting. I don't know who they don't put the names on their lineup card.
Classic.
They just assume everyone.
Everyone knows the Portland Timbers.
It's like the Beatles. It's like the Beatles' White Album. You just need the white cover, and that's all you need.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't name the rest of these guys. Do you know who these people are?
I'm looking at the lineup. No, I don't.
Not sure.
I mean, there are some good players in there. I vaguely recognize most of these guys as guys who have played for their MLS team.
High numbers, okay. I'm like, okay, that's an academy kid.
There's no Diego Chara.
No Diego Chara.
That's a shame, because I kind of wanted to see him put to shame at Starfire.
He's got to retire at some point.
I mean,
apparently not.
Yeah.
He's
Trey Muse is on the bench though.
Okay.
Former Sounders, former
academy player. I
coached
him. He was on my academy team with Paul Rothrock and Jackson Reagan.
He better give you your jersey. You give the jersey.
We swapped jerseys tonight.
Yeah.
He can. Yeah, he can. No, we'll let him swap with Andrew Thomas.
There we go.
Maybe. Yeah. No, it's the lower division sports thing requires effort, and the Sounders have put a lot of effort into this, but really it requires someone who can dedicate all of their effort to it.
Yeah.
Because the Sounders are trying to sell tickets to Lumen, rain tickets. That we're building both brands, and the bandwidth to build a third. It doesn't exist at the moment. If anyone knows of a suitably sized stadium looking for a tenant in the greater Puget Sound area, my email's, I'm sure, available on the internet somewhere.
So you never got to coach in the Open Cup, but you
No.
did play in the Open Cup.
I did.
Do you have any good Open Cup memories as a player?
Do I have Open Cup memories as a player? So, yes, I won the Open Cup in 1997 with the old Dallas Burn.
Yeah. Do you think the Dallas Burn, they should rename FC Dallas Burn? I mean, seriously, like I feel like that's so much better.
It is a missed opportunity. I think.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. You've heard it here, Dallas. I used to live there. So,
my Open Cup story. So we played at the Cotton Bowl back then, but back then they chose the venue for the final independently. So the final in 1997 was in Indianapolis, and it was a week after MLS Cup ended.
Wow.
Very late in the year, freezing cold. Absolutely, it's Indianapolis in December. The field is frozen, everything's frozen, and I was ill the day of the game. We had our pre-match meeting, and I was in the bathroom. I don't know what I had. Some kind of food poisoning. I felt all right, except when I was throwing up. A little bit of shakes. I was in the lineup, and so I'm trying to hide this from the staff. I'm trying to drink what I can, electrolytes and all that. And they eventually found out. They played me anyway. I threw up on the field.
Oh, wow. Love it.
That's rocks.
I threw up on the field. The game 0-0. One of the worst games of soccer. Please don't go back and watch it. 0-0. We went to penalties and we beat DC United, who were the two-time defending MLS Cup champs at that point. We beat them the week after they won their second MLS Cup. Beat them in penalties. So I do have a medal. I have a U.S. Open Cup medal at home somewhere.
Bruce Arena, DCU?
Bruce Arena, DC United.
Wow, that's all right. Well,
that team that was a legit Moreno, Echeverry,
Oh my God,
Diaz Arce, John Harkes. Good team. We were all right too, though.
Wade, I think that is a perfectly acceptable place to wrap it up.
We want to make sure you can
sure you get to the church on time. Thank you so much for joining the show this evening. We really appreciate the
You
time.
honestly should have a podcast. You have good stories. You're good on the mic. Like,
It's gotta combine music though. Those are my two big passions: are soccer and music. So
I think the Wade Weber pod is a great idea.
I'm here for it. Sounders PR.
I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
I'll talk to him.
Or you can sign with our network.
There you go.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Well, if
I
we
know a
win
guy.
and I carry through tonight with my I'm gonna retire, then I'll be calling you guys.
There
up.
we go. Wade Weber, thank you so much for joining us. Anything you want to plug? I mean, that's the podcast thing. What do you want to plug?
What do I want to plug?
What's your shout outs?
Anything?
Anything you want.
There is a History of Dungeons and Dragons book.
Oh, there we go.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got like the first 8 years, all the Gary Gygax stuff, the stuff that's out of print, and it's very expensive. Anyone looking for a gift idea for me for the holidays, I'm in for that.
Well, there you go. If you want your
I
kid
think Zach Scott just walked by.
He did. Zach Scott is in the building.
Oh, we got Zach. We got Zach Scott on.
And I don't think he'll be buying me that for the holidays.
No.